रुक नैन से अखियां खोल जरा रे गाफिल रब में ध्यान लगा ये प्रीत करन की रीत नहीं रब जागत है तू सोवत है उठ जाग उठ जाग उठ
Сейчас здесь тихо, только ветер и птицы.
It's quiet here now, only wind and birds. But 500 years ago, down below, one of the richest cities in the world was bustling with life. This was the capital of an empire that ruled all of southern India, trading with Arabs, Persians, and Portuguese. The city covered an area of 25 square kilometers. We came to Hampi to understand how could such a vast empire collapse in literally a single day.
काश का पुरादिनाथ काल भजे महादेव
The best place to watch the sunrise in Hampi is Matanga Hill. The panoramic view from the summit is breathtaking, which is why the atmosphere here at dawn is always magical and full of tourists. You can clearly see the Tungabhadra River Valley, endless fields of boulders, the market street, Hampi Bazaar, and the Virupaksha temple complex.
Hampi is an ancient city in southern India known as the capital of the mighty Vijayanagar Empire. Founded in the 14th century, the city was a center of Hinduism and widely celebrated for its wealth and monumental architecture. There was no sign of what was to come, yet suddenly the empire collapsed overnight. Today it is a vast complex of ruins with ancient temples, palaces, markets, and sacred sites. The main enemies of Vijayanagara were the Deccan Sultanates, 5 Muslim states that sought to gain control over the territories belonging to the empire. Despite continuous wars with the Muslim states of the north, within the empire itself, Hinduism and Islam coexisted perfectly. Hampi had a large Islamic quarter with functioning mosques, and the generals of the emperor's personal guard were Muslim. They were the ones who would later play a fateful role in the destiny of Vijayanagara.
За моей спиной площадь древнего базара.
Behind me is the square of the ancient bazaar. Imagine merchants came here from all over the world. They traded in spices, silk, precious stones. The Portuguese wrote that the riches of this city were beyond description. Hampi's population was 100,000 people. The empire's army numbered 200,000 foot soldiers, tens of thousands of cavalry, and hundreds of war elephants. It seemed as though this empire was indestructible and would exist forever.
The market street, Hampi Bazaar, was the main commercial and political center of Vijayanagara. The street stretches nearly a kilometer from the gates of the Virupaksha temple to the foot of Matanga Hill. On both sides of the road stand endless rows of stone colonnades. It is said that at the height of its glory, these were 2-story trading stalls. Travelers described this bazaar as a place where precious stones, diamonds, rubies, and emeralds were sold by weight, like vegetables, right on the street. contains more than 1,500 picturesque ruins scattered across a vast territory, so the best way to get around is by transport. Having watched the sunrise from Matanga Hill and wandered through the lanes of the ancient bazaar, we head towards one of the oldest active Hindu shrines in India, the famous Virupaksha temple.
The Virupaksha temple is the living heart of Hampi. It was built in the 7th century, long before the Vijayanagar Empire came into existence. The temple is dedicated to Shiva in the form of Virupaksha, and his consort Parvati, who in local tradition is called Pampa. This tower is called a Gopuram and serves as the gateway to the temple. It reaches a height of 50 meters and is covered in various mythological scenes.
This large sacred water tank is the Manmatha tank. Temple fish and turtles live in it, and pilgrims also bathe here. Around it stands a cluster of smaller temples, some of which are 1,000 years older than the Virupaksha temple itself.
Hinduism is one of the world's oldest religions, which evolved over thousands of years, long before the emergence of Buddhism, Christianity, and Islam. Contrary to the common belief that Hinduism is polytheistic, at its core lies faith in a single impersonal principle, Brahman, which has many different aspects and manifestations. Islam, for instance, recognizes 99 beautiful names of Allah, each of which reveals particular qualities and aspects of His greatness. But unlike Hinduism or Christianity, Islam prohibits any depiction of God or His prophets. The Hindu concept of the universe resembles the Christian doctrine of the Holy Trinity and is based on the Trimurti, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. This Trinity creates, sustains, and destroys the world, only to create it anew. The vast wealth of mythological narratives surrounding the deities is simply a way of explaining, through layered imagery, the structure of the universe, the moral duty of humanity, and the path of the soul toward liberation through the example of epic heroes. Hinduism is therefore not a single unified doctrine, but rather a way of life and a collection of philosophical schools. Much like Buddhism, a Hindu may choose any god from the pantheon and devotedly worship that deity as a manifestation of the single ultimate reality, Brahman.
Hindu names come from people of right side to the Sindhu. Now, the thing is, Hindu is a Sanatan Dharma, which means that entire universe has some laws, and our ancestors discovered those laws, and they are not applicable to only the people living in this country, they are to the universe, to all human beings, and how life can be beautiful, how we all can live joyfully, peacefully, in harmony. That's the real essence of Hinduism.
The empire was founded in the 14th century. Two brothers, Harihara and Buka, established a new state that was meant to become a bastion of Hindu culture in the south. They built temples, palaces, and vast markets.
This is goddess Durga. Goddess Durga is a very powerful god, and is one of the Shakti Pita. Whatever you have in mind, if you offer in front of her, within 6 months it will complete it. After, you have to come back and give her to thanks. That is sure.
This temple has stood for more than 500 years. The empire vanished, but the faith endured.
When you wander through the temples of Hampi, thoughts come not as facts, but as sensations. First, silence. The stones are warm from the sun, and it feels as though they remember everything. They simply choose not to speak. Then comes a sense of eternity. As if under a spell, you walk along stone pavements, peer into temples, gaze at columns and intricate carvings, and feel that this is not merely architecture. It is the rhythm of someone's life, frozen in stone. Epics, gods, people, passions, dreams. And then comes the understanding that everything in this world passes, yet not everything disappears.
Himakuta Hill is a remarkably smooth granite slope, rising directly above the Virupaksha temple. It is considered one of the most sacred and scenic spots in Hampi, home to some of the oldest temples and fortification systems, built even before the founding of the Vijayanagar Empire. For centuries, this place was a retreat for yogis and ascetics. The most important stories in Hampi's legends are connected with this very site, where the pivotal events described in the ancient epics were said to have taken place.
"40 years ago, Hampi was added to the UNESCO World Heritage List. The scale of Hampi is simply staggering. Only a great civilization could afford such palaces and temples."
Hampi was a true metropolis and one of the most prosperous cities in the world of its time. Its favorable location, well-developed infrastructure, and concentration of ancient temples made it highly attractive to pilgrims and international trade. At the same time, Hampi was always a tempting prize for its enemies to the north, who had long harbored plans to seize its wealth and sphere of influence.
Thank you.
And this is the most famous elephant in all of India. With her trunk, she bestows blessings upon all pilgrims, worshippers, and tourists. This sweet elephant's name is Lakshmi. They say she is 35 years old, very intelligent, and has a personal mahout who takes care of her. Lakshmi lives permanently at the Virupaksha temple and has long since become a symbol of Hampi.
The Vijayanagar Empire existed for more than 200 years. It controlled vast territories, built irrigation systems and roads, and maintained an army of 200,000 soldiers. This was the site of the royal residence. Now it has been razed to its foundations, but once military parades and grand celebrations were held here. This was the center of power, confident, self-sufficient, and seemingly invincible.
Sojugada sujumalige Madevanimma mande myale dundumalige Andavar mundavar matte tavare puspa Chandakke male bilpatre Madevanimma Chandakke male bilpatra
Wow, it's so nice.
Thank you. It's because of my Kazakh friends. They're from Kazakhstan. Bless you.
Having enjoyed the singing of our friend Krishna and the magnificent bas-reliefs of the Dasara platform with its countless depictions of elephants, kings, and gods, we make our way to the Vittala temple. we were unable to reach the Vitala temple in our own vehicle. We boarded a shuttle and, together with a group of tourists, rode along the Royal Road past the Vitala Bazaar, looking forward to our encounter with the crowning achievement of the great empire's story.
The Vitala Temple is the most exquisite architectural monument in Hampi, dedicated to an incarnation of the god Vishnu. Built in the 16th century, it represents the pinnacle of Vijayanagara architectural artistry. In the temple courtyard stands one of the most recognizable symbols of India, the stone chariot, an image of which appears on the modern 50 rupee banknote.
The stone chariot has become the symbol of the city of Hampi.
At first glance, the chariot may appear to be carved from a single stone. In fact, it is made up of many granite blocks meticulously fitted together. This unique structure was itself a temple, inside which stood Garuda, the mythical birdman. The chariot was originally painted in bright colors, which have faded over time. Building such a structure in granite was incredibly expensive and technically demanding, and so the chariot served as a symbol of the wealth and technological supremacy of the Vijayanagar Empire.
In Hindu tradition, a festive wedding ritual of the gods is performed every year. The graceful Kalyana Mandapa, with its bridal bed at the center, is a kind of wedding hall for the marriage ceremony. Each column is an individual work of art. The stone here seems almost soft, and sunlight filtering through the rows of columns creates a mysterious interplay of shadows inside, making this one of the most romantic spots in Hampi.
The empire was not only powerful and wealthy, but also open. It was a complex, multi-ethnic world where different cultures intertwined. It was from this diversity that its greatness was born, and its vulnerability too.
From the very start, we were struck by these mysterious riders mounted on fantastical beasts, images of which abound in most of the temples. And our friend Krishna kindly told us all about them.
You see, this man is ruling this animal. So this is the king. The king should have qualities so that he can control this also. He should have those qualities. Even he should be that powerful that even if an elephant is there, it should be very weak in front of him. This is the real power of a king. And there we saw the enemy. Even if enemy comes or anything comes, he should be able to face it. And he can only face it when he is having eyes and focus of a lion, ears of a fox. And you see this also. This side, or you will see this. This is like a peacock. He should not only be this also. He should be beautiful also. The beauty should also be part of his life. He should have the crocodile's mouth and his hands and lion and the horse's strength, and he should be very powerful. So the king should be powerful. In Sanskrit there is a beautiful sloka. You have to be stronger in all the senses. Physically, mentally, intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, and only then you are eligible to be a king. Otherwise, anybody can make you stupid. Nobody can make you stupid. They can show you that you are stupid and we just showed it to you. You have to be very sharp and very intelligent. That's why this great glamour of these great temples and these great kingdoms were run by kings and kings and kings for generations.
And tiger size. Yes, top size. Body, top size.
The musical columns, extraordinary craftsmanship, technologies that still raise questions today. In the 16th century, this city was considered the wealthiest in the entire world. The musical columns are the main mystery of the Ranga Mandapa. The main pillars of the temple are surrounded by slender columns, each tuned to its own sound. It is said that a gentle tap on them produces sounds resembling a flute, drums, or bells. Exactly how this works remains not entirely understood. Unfortunately, tapping the columns is currently prohibited.
В середине XVI века
In the mid-16th century, the previously fragmented Muslim sultanates of the north united and attacked Vijayanagara. The empire's army was commanded by its ruler, Aliya Rama Raya. He was an elderly but highly experienced military commander. The decisive battle took place some 100 kilometers from Hampi. At the height of the battle, the ruler was surrounded, captured, and beheaded right there on the battlefield. According to eyewitness accounts, his head was placed in a spear and raised aloft. This was the decisive turning point. The army was broken and retreated. And so, in literally a single day, the vast empire collapsed. The forces of the sultanates entered Hampi and plundered it for several months. The cause of the Vijayanagara army's defeat was betrayal. Two generals of the emperor's personal guard, along with their detachments, treacherously seized their lord at the critical moment of the battle and defected to the enemy, delivering him to certain death. Some historians claim this was a religious war, but in reality, it was a battle for territory, for power, for wealth, and for trade routes. Sometime after the destruction of Vijayanagara, the sultanates fell to quarreling among themselves again and went to war with each other. By the 17th century, they had weakened so considerably that they were conquered by the Mughals. Their unity, therefore, had been temporary.
It is remarkable. Even the wealthiest of cities can become mere scenery for tourists.
पावत है जो सोवत है सो खोवत है उठ जा उठ जा उठ जा टुक नींद से अखियां खोल जरा.
The story of Vijayanagara is a story of rise and fall, 200 years of might, and defeat in a single day. Now there are only stones here, but these stones are a reminder that no empire lasts forever. रब जागत है तू सोवत है